and Grandmaster Piers Morgan. So, unable to resist temptation, I clicked on the thumbnail and thought, let's have a look-see. So, what I saw was a very fiery and interesting debate ensuing. Without no further ado, let's go.
Or if he feels the same way about me, then the feelings are quite mutual, and I'm very, very proud of that and happy with it.
Okay, I want to play a clip. This is you talking about you attacking parents. You spoke.
Oh, as it goes, I have watched a portion of this, so we're taking it from about halfway through. Obviously, you can go back and watch the whole thing at Piers Morgan Uncensored if you choose to. In the meantime, we'll take it from
about their concerns about gay and paedophilia pornography books being placed in school libraries.
The question I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like...
Now, this isn't a new debate, as you know. It's been going on and on for quite a while. And what surprised me, I'm not a major follower of Joy Reid since she's left her show on CNN, and I haven't really seen much of her. So seeing her pop up today or yesterday, as it may be, definitely piqued my interest, and I'm glad I took a look because this debate is very interesting.
All Boys Aren't Blue isn't appropriate for students to read. What is your expertise?
What a tragic story of a young man who's anally raped by his adult family member. So you have incest, rape, pedophilia. Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so I'm going to answer for you. Please do. In what context is a...
I mean, I have to say, most of the, what I hear coming from the, say, the Democratic side of the media, it seems to be like a tendency to exaggerate, and you know, if it was 7, they're gonna call it 8. If it was 9, they'll call it 13. So it's like over egging, I think, is the terminology, instead of just telling something as it is and letting people weigh the scales as they see fit. And I guess we're gonna see more of this in these particular clips.
Strap-on dildo acceptable for public school? I mean, that's my question to you. Tell me what the context around the strap-on dildo or the rape of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No, we're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
Now, there's also a second clip. This is you talking about extreme. Republicans exploiting concerns by minors who identify as transgender. And you said this was an old age tradition which Nazi Germany did. Let's take a look.
In fact, there are more kids who have been exposed to gun violence, estimated at 3 million, than there are transgender Americans of all ages in total. Targeting trans people isn't new. It is an age-old tradition, which Nazi Germany did with brutally violent ends in the 1930s.
Now,
the constant reference to Nazi Germany, I think it's gone way too far at this point in time. I mean, if you look at some of what's going on the globe, particularly in the Middle East regions, where that kind of comparison could be quite relevant depending on which side you place it on. How it's used in this, Republican Democrat argument, I just think they've watered it down. They overuse it.
The confusing part of all this, Joy, is what you really think about the LGBTQ plus, whatever it now is,
referencing both sides
community, right? Because as you know, when you started commentating about this, appearing to be a big ally, a lot of stuff emerged which came from posts that you had purportedly put up in a blog between 2000.
This is where the chickens come home to roost. Yeah, you go really hard on your opponent, and at some point, lo and behold, they find a similar example of what you've been going at them about in your household. What is it? The pot calling the kettle black, or something along those lines? Don't throw stones in glass houses. That's the phrase.
2007 and 2009, one of which said, most straight people cringe at the sight of two men kissing. Another said, I don't want to watch the two male characters in Brokeback Mountain. You were talking about having sex. Does that make me homophobic? Probably. You referred to the then Florida governor as Miss Charlie. And
Say, folks, time for one of them.
Featured the tag gay politicians. Now, you said at the time when all this emerged, I genuinely don't believe I wrote those hateful things because they're completely alien to me. I hired cybersecurity experts to see if somebody manipulated my words on my former blog. And the reality is they've not been able to prove it. Now you're not at MSNBC. Now you're on your own, doing your own thing, and you don't have to worry about repercussions and stuff. Are you prepared to finally come clean and just admit that was your blog and you did say those things?
You know, Piers, I might have known that you would use this opportunity and interview and that this was your purpose, right? Oh, this is your purpose. God. And that's fine. This is your show and you can do whatever you like. You know, I could sit here and go on and fight with you about your strange, weird obsession with Meghan Markle, but I won't do that because that would be rude. But what I will say is...
if you want to.
We can do that as well.
Sure.
But the point being that I was very open with my employer at the time about what happened with that old site, which I stopped writing in, you know, before I even came back into the NBC family.
I do believe she's referencing Twitter here, maybe 10 years plus, where they found some what could be deemed as homophobic statements made by her. And her explanation was her account had been hacked. She didn't recall writing them or something along those lines. I don't think people bought it.
And what I have not really talked about publicly, but what I can tell you is that I had a very legitimate reason for being concerned about it because I was also on the radio at that time. And the things that I was literally talking about on the radio were quite the opposite of the things that were in that site. That is the reason that we began investigating what was going on with that site. And there was also someone who I do not know, who I still do not know, who had login access to my site for years that we did not even discover because I hadn't looked at the site for years. I don't know who that is. I don't know why they had access to the site, but had I not been open about that, I would have been.
Now that is feasible. On a scale of 10, you're looking at the low end, pretty much.
Definitely fired or you know, there would have been some repercussions. I was open with my company about that. I've been very open. Everyone who knows me knows about it. And so if you want to argue with me about an old blog site, that's fine. And I'll take responsibility. I just asked you if you did write it. And hold on. And I'm willing to take responsibility for anything that was on that site.
Did you say that?
For you,
did you say those things?
Wait.
Starting something new always feels impossible. I tell myself, I'm going to change, do something productive. But
listen, what I'm going to say is very simply
you said him.
What I'm going to say is very simply this, Piers.
You know you did.
The point that you're attempting to make.
You just want to be an absolute.
Might as well do this now. While we're talking about sponsors, if you're based in the UK and you're having any issues, you've been scammed online, you're awaiting a refund and it's taking longer than it should be taking, you have a rent deposit you're trying to reclaim from a landlord or estate agents, anything along those lines, and you've reached the end of your tether and you need someone in your corner to sort out these matters, smalldebts.co.uk can step in, resolve the issue, and get that money repatriated to your bank account.
To get your security deposit back or dealing with unfair charges? At Small Debts, our tenant advocate service fights to get your money back. No stress, no hassle. Take control today. Visit smalldebts.co.uk and start your case now.
So there you go. It's a word from our sponsors. Let's get back to it.
Hold on a second. The reason that you are trying to go here is that you're trying to defend the idea that Moms for Liberty and these other organizations can take books that are not pornography, that are not pornographic.
No, I'm just trying to see. I'm just trying to see whether you like to hold people to account, and I'm just trying to ask you
held myself to
questions about
and I
you being held to account
for everything that was in that site, and I took responsibility for everything that was in that site, and I still take responsibility for everything that was in that site. I find anything that harms the LGBTQ community that was in that site repugnant. I apologize for it. I take full responsibility for it. But the point that I made in my conversation with the woman from Moms for Liberty is that they are making themselves the expert on books, which they are deeming pornographic by using a site called booklooks.com, looking for words in the book that make them uncomfortable, and then attempting to ban books by the hundreds.
Out of interest, but just to be clear,
And so I asked her,
we like clarity.
Do you think books, all right, do you think school children at school should have access to books in their library which involve strap-on dildos?
Again, you're taking a book that has multiple subjects, and you're taking this award-winning book and dumbing it down to that.
I just asked you.
See, this is what you get in these debates. They're obvious, simple yes or no questions with a simple yes or no answer, and it just goes off in a completely, often unrelated direction. And does the question ever get answered? Very rarely.
Because you may feel uncomfortable. And the bottom line is, these books that were published by publishers who had an opportunity to say no, looked at these books. These are award-winning books, and I think parents should have the opportunity to opt their children out if they don't feel comfortable reading those books, but that children who are old enough and who are of age and can choose the books they want to read and may feel seen in a book that you might object to ought to have the opportunity to read that book. That shouldn't be your decision. It shouldn't be Moms for Liberty's decision. I think each parent can make the decision for their own children, and I don't think that woman from Moms for Liberty or her organization should make that decision for other people's children. People ought to make decisions for their own children. And by the way, one more thing I'll add.
I mean, a lot of decisions are made well before they reach the public domain, where it comes to things like education, shared spaces, institutions, the workplace, all those kind of things. There's, prior decided on laws that are in place to kind of stop people from going at each other's necks. And it's one of those cases. Although Joy, I think, is suggesting that it should land, in this case, in the library of a school, and then the parent at some point would decide whether the child should have access to reading the material. I think you're kind of talking about solving the problem after the horse has already bolted. Or how do they say it again? Put the horse before the cart.
In the state of Florida, parents can opt their children out of reading books that they don't want to read.
All right, let me ask you.
She could have done that like any other parent.
Have you watched Brokeback Mountain?
No.
Okay. I mean,
what is the point of that?
Well, because you said I don't want to watch the two male characters in Brokeback Mountain having sex.
Okay, so what does me watching Brokeback Mountain have to do with that book, whether or not it is pornographic?
No, nothing to do with the book.
That is a book that people can have the opportunity to read if they so choose.
No, I'm not talking about the book.
I do not understand how an
I'm not talking about the book.
Make a decision. It is not about the movie. It is about whether or not Moms for Liberty.
I'm not talking about the book.
The organization who should make decisions for other people's children.
I'm not talking about the book,
Whether
as you know.
I watched a movie or not makes absolutely no difference.
I'm talking about you posting on your blog that you wouldn't watch Brokeback Mountain because you don't want to see two male characters having sex. Does that make me homophobic? Probably. Most straight people cringe at the sight of two men kissing. Your words, not mine, Joy.
From her perspective.
And your point is?
That maybe that makes you a bit of a hypocrite when you're taking the position of being an ally for the LGBTQ community. And actually, the best way to handle it, I would argue, is just to say, you know what? Actually, I did write that at the time.
Hands up.
They're not my views now. I've learned.
You rarely see it, although he's right, Piers is right. The way to sort of resolve this and squash it is hands up. You caught me. I apologize. It probably won't happen again. Please forgive me. Let's proceed.
evolved, I've moved on. Trying to pretend even now that you didn't write it is preposterous. And I think you know that.
The bottom line is what I've said, and I will say it again, is that I take full responsibility for everything that was on that site. I'm deeply apologetic for the things that were on that site that hurt people, and I take responsibility for it because it was my site, and that's the end of that. And my views, as you know, and as I've said on television, on air, are quite different from the views that you just read, and that's the end of that.
Okay. Let's just end with this. Not everyone was upset when you were fired. Plenty of those white conservative men that you like so much seem quite happy. Let's just take a look at this clip.
If you're a man over 35 and you're waking up tired, dragging yourself through the day and thinking, maybe I'm just getting old.
Joy Reid, probably the nastiest figure on MSNBC. The most left, the most vicious against conservatives and white people and men and all the rest. She has just been canned, fired, kicked to the side of the road. Her show is over. This saddens me a little bit because I did not yet have the opportunity to go on it. I am celebrating that there is no longer a market for her disgusting product. That's what I'm genuinely happy about.
I mean, think about Joy Reid. She went hard in one particular direction, and it wasn't the direction of, just say, ethnic equity. It was like really the foot on the neck on one particular ethnicity, and unfortunately it always landed on the neck of the white man. And I think she got away with it for quite a while, and the climate changed after Trump becoming president again, and the days were numbered for her and her show.
There's been a major shift. Her show and shows like her show no longer have value. And that's not just because of Joy Reid's favorite villains, you know, the evil white man or the Christians or the conservatives. It's because, like, no one watches her show.
So, Joy, I've actually got Michael Knowles waiting in the wings.
Great.
Is there anything you'd like to say to him?
No.
What did you make of his critique of your show?
Well, I mean, the reality is that obviously people watched the show, and obviously that's the reason that the show was on for 4.5, nearly 5 years. So if he didn't like the show, I guess, sorry you didn't enjoy it, but I really am not that interested in his views on it.
Okay, well, we've got Michael there. Michael, anything you want to say to Joy?
Eternity later.
Yes, wonderful to be here, Joy. Very nice to meet you. And I guess I would agree with Joy's take. People watched the show in the past tense, and now there's no longer a market for that absolutely vile content. And I think that's good for the culture broadly. And now we can all chat on Pierce's show.
Joy?
The reality is, Michael, the content that you and Piers like to trade in is grievance. And the grievance that white Americans have, that they have to deal with
I'm not American.
Diversity, that they have to deal with.
You just said you have a home in
I'm British.
Love America. And by the way, white grievance is very good for your bottom lines. It's very good for your bank accounts. And so having me here to be able to continue to traffic in that is your shtick. That is what you do.
First of all,
that's
Joy,
what you do, Piers.
And
so it's great. And I'm sure you find it delightful and fun to say it. But the reality is, Piers, that is what you all traffic in.
I have to correct you.
Well, first of all, I'm not a white American. I think as my accent may reveal.
Well, I know that you're European.
And I'm
British.
My only grievances are
and secondly, I don't think anyone. Michael, I will let you respond, but I don't think any host in the history of cable news has waged more grievance than Joy Reid. So the idea that you're now hectoring us about feeling aggrieved about things, you spent years being aggrieved about absolutely everything.
Excuse me, but your favorite president, the president who you completely support, is nothing but
my
grievance.
favorite president was Abraham Lincoln.
Was grievance. His entire campaign was grievance. Well, your former boss on The Apprentice,
not Donald
or whatever
Trump.
You want to call him, your friend. The bottom line is that Donald Trump's entire campaign was about grievance. It was about white America feeling they'd lost their country and they need to take it back. It was about white America feeling that diversity was a threat to their children being able to go to Harvard. Their
and you know what, Joy? In the end,
diversity was and that is the reason that you all glom onto him and use him to further your own.
Actually, in the end, most Americans, as you know, most Americans, having voted for him in 2016, and after Trump spent 4 years in the wilderness, and we watched the Democrats run the United States of America, people took a look at that in America, and then they voted for Trump second time round in bigger numbers, including a record number of Latinos, who last time I checked were not white. Anyway, Joy Reid, I'm going to leave it with you. Thank you for coming on Uncensored. Next time, I'm sure we can move on from the stuff we've talked about today and have a more current debate, perhaps, about other issues. But
Very interesting, very interesting. So there you have it. There's a bit more, you know, when the other panelists get a chance to have their say and kind of go at each other, I guess. The main chunk of this debate was what we've just seen. And yeah, there's an earlier part which you can catch if you want to watch the whole Piers Morgan Uncensored interview. I found it quite interesting. It wasn't like a new side to Joy Reid. If you've seen her shows and heard her stance and, you know, how she puts her view across, nothing kind of new there. But it's kind of nice to see where she's at today, 2025, and the fact that even though she's lost her show, I don't think she's kind of changed her stance as a result of that. And you could say that describing it in a fairly crude way, the I don't know, I was going to say scalps, the numbers on the side of these left-leaning, high-profile media commentators from the legacy side of the media. You had, was it Como? You had our friend Mr. Lemon, Mr. Don Lemon. You had, well, actually, there's quite a list of them. I'll even throw in Piers Morgan in that number, even though, you know, he's coming from the UK side, and he had a major role on British daytime TV until the falling out with Meghan Markle and, you know, that whole Meghan Harry beef thing that's been going on for some time. So yeah, a lot of these high profile legacy media anchors, or have your journalists, have you described them, who had their own shows and have since lost their jobs and, you know, turn up their nose as they may to YouTubers and content creators on social media. Many of them now have found day jobs and established day jobs on the same platforms that they used to kind of look down on previously. That is a funny turnaround in itself. I think Como seems to be quite settled with his show. Probably Piers Morgan is amongst the front runners who's really figured out the game and established himself, built a big following, and he brings on a wide variety of panelists and commentators on his debate shows. There's also, I guess, the grandmaster beyond Piers Morgan will be Tucker Carlson. He brings in the numbers when he tackles a subject on social media. For now, it's been nice being here with yous. Myself, Owen Uredia, here at CornerSpeak. I don't know if you caught the earlier #01 show that I do with Dan Keck from Mere Diamonds Entertainment. We're on every day, Monday to Friday, usually late in the evenings. One more show to do for the week tomorrow evening. Catch us, we cover every subject under the sun. It's totally unscripted, freestyled. We just go with the flow of the subjects that come into top of our minds at the moment. So some news stories, some culture, some of our own history and background, as we both, kind of have a background in the music industry, both instrumentalists, and you'll be hearing a lot more from the two of us. For now, myself, Only Radio here at CornerSpeak. Use me. Be good, be safe, and if you can, be creative. For now, I am out of here.